Here we go again. I mean, this is the truth show, and there's more. Oh, I'm not done yet. Oh, and there's more. Oh, I'm not done yet. I mean, this is the truth show. Oh, yes.
Hi, everyone. This is a random show. Sorry, my mic was muted. I have my hair in a ponytail. That's why you really can't tell there. I was like, you know what? I'm on the boat. I'm looking good, and I have some shit to say. So here we are. Just waiting for more people to get in the room. Good afternoon, people. Welcome to the Truth Show. I told you I'm just going to keep using this particular software until it run out, and then I'm not going to renew it again. I'm done. I'm tired of making other people money. No more. I'm done. So enjoy this live show as it continues. Hi, King. Like the name. Nice name. How are you doing this afternoon? I just want to pick up where I left off yesterday. I didn't get the chance to finish what I wanted to say yesterday, so I'm just, picking up from there. You're welcome. I like the name. I'm just going to go ahead and just jump right in here. I'll just put the links in while you guys look at clips and stuff. Anyway, hello, all my truth seekers. Again, my name is Keisha, and welcome to the Truth Show. In this live show, I will be discussing the most recent developments regarding Donald Trump. I posted some of his messages already on my my community post. So some of you pretty much already saw. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. Indeed, he is still embroiled in a dispute. Well, he's kind of embroiled in a dispute with Harvard. I may have mentioned in passing, partly because he didn't get accepted in Harvard and his son didn't get accepted in Harvard either. And I'm noticing that his wife, Melania, she is well-trained. You remember they got together when she was young. She was a transported Russian bride. Let her tell us she got into this country legal with papers and all that, but she didn't. But whatever. Whole nother video. But anyway, that's partly because of his animosity toward Harvard in terms of Trump and his beef with Harvard. But he's not going to win that battle, reason being because a lot of our prominent political leaders and people in his cabinet graduated from Harvard. So him doing that is stupid. Just want to point that out. He is still embroiled in a dispute. Oh, yes, he's still embroiled in a dispute with many other people as well. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Diddy news and some quick review news of random topics of celebrities. And then we're going to talk about some biblical things that I kind of want to get into. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. And here's your warnings. And don't forget to share, you guys. Share.
Please note that this is all alleged. I've never met any of these people. I've deeply researched all of my information. Please note that this is all alleged. I've never met any of these people. I've deeply researched all of my information.
This is a trigger warning. In this video, I may be talking about or showing sensitive material about some subjects or topics that may be disturbing or upsetting or may bring forth some troubling memories, as you read in the description or title. With that said, either end the video now or brace yourself. Aside from that, enjoy.
All right, fantastic. As you know, Donald Trump tariffs has been blocked. I'm going to pretty much repeat what I posted in my community post already. Yes, a federal court recently ruled that Donald Trump does not have the authority to impose sweeping global tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act also known as IEEPA, the U.S. Court of International Trade struck down most of the Trump's tariffs, stating that the law does not grant him unlimited power to regulate imports. Like, he don't got it like that. And I told you guys he didn't have it like that. In order to do an emergency tariff, it has to be some dire stress, some emergency situation, like, I don't know, a country going poor or whatever crazy abnormal crap that will happen. And that is currently not happening. So whatever. So he tried to use that excuse to act like a crazy psycho bully. And that did not work. Okay. Now the ruling blocks tariffs that Trump had imposed. Hold on for a moment. The ruling blocked tariffs that Trump had imposed on China, Mexico, Canada, and other trading partners, argued that they were meant, this is what he said. Let me go ahead and put that up here. Arguing that they were meant to address trade imbalances and national security concerns. Now, the court found that these tariffs exceeded president legal authority and that such decisions should be made through a non-emergency legislation, which means he didn't have the authority to do that, and he was abusing his power like he always does. And I'm not surprised by that because he's crazy as hell anyway. So I'm kind of glad that the federal court blocked that because Trump was losing his fucking mind. Let's go ahead and put that shit on out there. Now, here are some clips here that would explain these tariffs a little bit more.
Disturbing admission from Donald Trump that we all knew he was doing this, but to actually see him post this, it is deeply disturbing and disgusting. He writes, "What?"
Oh, in this particular clip, because I'm going to show you both. This particular clip, this is the beef that he's having with Russia at the moment. So Trump is currently beefing with Russia. I guess I should have told you guys that. So here are you going to see what's been going on with that and his animosity and his outburst with his beef with Putin, because apparently he thought he was running things with Putin because, you know, he's gotten so big-headed with people cheating for him, whereas he is forgetting who cheated for him, who got him in the White House. He think he got into the White House because he's just that fucking good. You know what I'm saying? He has literally forgotten a lot of stuff. So they're reminding him currently, like, remember who got you here. And this is what his outburst and his rebuttal to Putin not listening to him, among other reasons.
Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia.
See?
And I mean really
He's
bad.
threatening Putin now.
He's playing with fire! Exclamation point. So you realize, Donald, that this morning you're admitting that you've been aiding and abetting Vladimir Putin in the genocide of Ukraine. You know how many thousands of soldiers who you're responsible for killing, Donald? You know how many innocent Ukrainians you're responsible for killing? You have blood on your hands, Donald. That is very clear by your own admission. What you're admitting, that because of your friendship with Vladimir Putin, you allowed him to continue the killing even more. It's so utterly disgusting.
That's pretty much what he admitted. What did you say? You said that's why they used to be so close. Yeah, they used to be. Used to be.
Donald Trump's tariffs are gone.
And this is his tariffs. I already posted on my community post that his tariffs were terrible. So, now the federal court have buckled down and kind of put the hammer on him having so much power over the tariffs.
They have been nullified in their entirety by a federal court. It was the Federal International Trade Court, a unanimous panel of 3 judges, one of whom was appointed by Donald Trump. In a unanimous decision issued Wednesday today, judges halted the president's tariffs with a permanent injunction. They're gone. They're dead. And the after-hours Dow Jones futures market went skyrocketing. This ruling nullifies Trump's 30% tariffs on Chinese goods, 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico, And the baseline 10% tariffs Donald Trump imposed on pretty much every single other country on April 2nd, Liberation Day. It took less than 2 months. In issuing the tariffs, Trump bypassed Congress by citing the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Okay, so here's what he did. He did this with immigration. He declared that we were being invaded by the Venezuelan government, who was directing the Venezuelan street gang Tren de Aragua. He declared an emergency so that he could invoke the Alien Enemies Act. That's been shot down by multiple courts. And with his tariffs, he declared an economic emergency under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act and just started doing whatever the fuck he wanted to do. Declare an emergency because under a lot of these statutes, if there is an emergency, the president declares an emergency. If there's a factual basis for that emergency, then those statutes typically will give the president additional emergency powers to do things like mass deportations or global tariffs. Donald Trump has been fixated on tariffs for 40 years. He has constantly been like, the rest of the world is ripping us off. They're ripping off the United States, yada, yada, yada. This court held that he dramatically exceeded the president's authority under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. And they issued a permanent injunction, a permanent restraining order against Donald Trump issuing tariffs on or instituting tariffs on other countries. His tariffs are dead. They are gone. They no longer exist. And this restraining order is permanent. Now, he can appeal this to the federal district appellate court. And then after that, he can appeal it to the United States Supreme Court. And I'm sure that Sam Alito and Clarence Thomas are rubbing one out right now, salivating at the idea of getting their hands on this case. But importantly, a lot of times when courts at the trial court level issue an order like this, they will stay that ruling pending appeal, meaning this is the order that we've made, but it won't go into effect until the appellate process is exhausted. This goes into effect right now, immediately. Donald Trump's tariffs are dead in the water. They are gone.
Done.
And the stock market responded very, very favorably to that.
If you want to be in the stock market, do it now.
So, and now we are where we have been
before he
so many other times during the last 4-ish months. And we're waiting to see whether or not Donald Trump is going to obey this court order. He will no doubt appeal it. He will no doubt attack these 3 judges, including the one that he appointed, including the one that Ronald Reagan appointed. And he will call them liberal squishes and, sick his followers on them. But that's where we're at. Donald Trump's tariffs are dead. They're gone. Awesome.
Woohoo! Isn't that fantastic? We need some hand claps for that, people, because I am just so freaking excited by that. Woohoo! I need some hand clap. Yeah. Let me quit. I am so happy for this, seriously, because he was getting on my fucking nerve. Yes. Finally. God damn it. Fuck.
A disturbing admission from
now. And then we have Elon Musk. He steps down. Yes, Elon Musk officially stepped down from his role in the Trump administration. He had been leading the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, an initiative aimed at reducing federal spending. His departure comes after his 130-day tenure as a special government employee reached its limit. Musk publicly disagreed with Trump's big, beautiful bill. It's not beautiful. It's catastrophic. Okay? It's ridiculous and stupid. Who's making these goddamn bills anyway? I'm curious. Who's making them? Now, major tax and spending proposal, citing concerns about his impact on federal deficit. Now, despite stepping down from Musk, has stated that the DOGE mission will continue to influence government operations. Sure. Now, with Elon Musk stepping down, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, is transitioning to new leadership. Oh, yes. Listen to this. This is, you guys should understand this, okay? Russell Vought, a former director of the Office of Management and Budget, is expected to take over. The initiative will continue its mission of cutting government spending and people, pretty much working for whoever is making them do this shit. You know what I'm saying? So cutting government spending from themselves because they're the one who's fucking spending it, but with a more refined approach. There's no reproach. They're just thieves. Trump has described it as a shifting from Musk's chainsaw method. So he's talking about Musk, and Musk is the one who got him into the White House by rigging the fucking election with his little computer geeks, right along with who over there bombing shit. So you know what? If I was Musk, I will declare immunity and oust his ass. Fuck loyalty. I know he did some underhanded shit with who, and he's trying to save his ass. Declare immunity. If you want to get out of this, Musk, this is the time to get out of this because he's throwing you under the bus and you're going to go to jail just like him. I'm just going to go ahead and put that shit on out there. If he was able to get Giuliani, where the hell is his name? And dude was rich as hell. You think your ass is not going to get freaking in jail? Hell yeah, you're going to get thrown in jail. I don't know why these freaking billionaires thinking they are above the law. Law don't recognize money or whatever the hell you are. You are not a god. And that's nothing. Trump is running around here saying he's a fucking god. He is saying, I'm a god. I am a god. That's what he's fucking saying at this current moment. And it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. So this chainsaw method, scalpel strategy, whatever the hell they're talking about doing. Now, the DOGE is set to remain operational until July 4th, 2026. So it's still going to be on autopilot until July, sure. Focusing on embedding efficiency principles into federal agency, which means still tampering the shit, considering he already pretty much corrupted the entire federal agency by firing prominent members who can understand each level of the agency. When it comes to math, economic, when it comes to the weather, when it comes to science, when it comes to every part of the Constitution or whatever in and outs, they fired them all. Okay? Even with our military, they fired a lot of them fuckers too. So now they have to go back and fix what they fucked up. Musk, this is ridiculous. So while Musk is no longer directly involved, his influence remains. He has installed loyal personnel in key positions to ensure the initiative goals persist. So, however, DOGE faces legal challenges, including lawsuits from multiple states over its aggression and cost-cutting measures. Critics argue that its actions have disrupted essential government services, sparking concerns about long-term consequences. Now, despite Musk's departure, the White House emphasized that the DOGE is now deeply integrated into federal operations. Sure, it's not. The initiative future will likely depend on how this vote person, navigates political and legal hurdles while maintaining its efficiency-driven agenda, which means pretty much doing what Musk laid out. So Musk, you know what I think Musk is stepping down because, A, he's gathered all the information and has done all he needed. B, he's afraid the unhinging Trump has become will expose the dirt he's done. I bet the next place he will go back to will be South Africa after he made that little underhandedly bamboozle fucking deal with the South African leader, which I would have never gave him shit, where they finally accepted his Starlink. Musk is like a reckoning. He goes from one country, from one continent, from one government and fuck it up and then move on to the next one and fuck that up. He needs to be stopped. He's acting like a terrorist. I'm going to go ahead and put that shit on out there. He's acting like a fucking terrorist, and someone needs to stop him before he goes way too far. Here are some clips. Why is it so close? I need to fix that. I'm not fixing it. This is going to be close.
We now have evidence that Elon Musk gave Russia sensitive government data. The whistleblower who came forward said, quote, I can't attest.
This is proof. And if you want to read about it, do your own research. Musk have literally leaked a lot of our data to Russia. And that's a fact. But I'm going to say alleged just for legal purposes.
To what their end goal was, or we now have evidence that Elon Musk gave Russia sensitive government data. The whistleblower who came forward said, quote, I can't attest to what their end goal was or what they're doing with the data, but I can tell you that the bits of the puzzle I can quantify are scary. He said that DOGE ordered him and others at the National Labor Relations Board to allow access to extremely sensitive data. And then he watched as Russia immediately started accessing and downloading all of it. He was ordered to delete all records of what he had done and leave no trace. And the man is terrified after what came next. Once he blew the whistle to NPR, he came home to find a threatening note taped to his door that included personal info and a picture of him that was taken from a drone.
Ooh.
NPR was able to corroborate his account with 30 other employees. Elon Musk personally came in and handed over sensitive U.S. government data to Russia. And we have no idea how bad it is. And no one is even talking about this because we are all distracted by the rest of the circus.
And there you have it. And yet he's still walking free as if nothing has happened. Make it make sense.
All right, so I just read this absolutely brilliant article, and I have to share what I learned with you guys because it explains so much about Donald Trump, Putin, and why the world feels like it's going off the rails right now. So this whole article is about Fiona Hill, and she was Trump's top Russia advisor. She's also worked under Bush and Obama, and is honestly one of the smartest, most level-headed people in geopolitics today. She's been face-to-face with Putin, and she's literally sat close enough to him to be able to smell the detergent on his suit. Like, she knows his whole world inside and out, and her insight on Trump, it's brutal, and it's terrifying. So get this. Back in 2018, Putin unveiled Russia's first hypersonic missile and showed a simulation of it hitting a landmass that looked suspiciously like Florida. Now, Trump saw it, and apparently his face turned white. Fiona Hill was standing right next to him at the time, and she said that that moment revealed everything for her. Trump is scared of Putin, like legitimately terrified, not in some strategic way, but in a very please don't nuke my golf course kind of way. And his fear of nuclear conflict has shaped his entire attitude towards Putin, and it's why he acts so differential and even submissive. And here's the thing, Trump doesn't really understand what Putin even wants.
Are you guys fucking hearing this shit? Are you guys hearing this crazy crap? This is what we're going through currently. Again, if you see me looking, trying to make this, here we go, that's better. All right, anyway, if you see me looking to my left, I'm looking at the comments and me and the camera, and my left, your right. My right, I'm looking at the slideshow and the videos. My right, your left, and up above is the camera and other portals to what I'm doing. Just want to point that out to you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, as you can see, yes, our government has been infiltrated. Our government has been compromised. And we still have these people navigating our government, and they have not been fired. What in the fuck is going on here? We already know he rigged the election. They all should be fucking in jail, and this election should be thrown out for corruption. That's what they should do. But, you know, whatever. Let's move on to the subject you guys are really looking forward to. Now, before I do that, I forgot I had the slideshow. You heard about Trump's issue with Putin, who he claimed he doesn't know what the fuck Putin want. Bullshit. He knows exactly what Putin want. He just acting like a dumbass. That's his coping mechanism. That's how you get out of stuff by acting like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm not even sure where he was. That is Trump. Do not fall for that shit. I mean, he's a con artist. He been lying and faking all his goddamn life. If he need to lie his way out of something, trust me, he'll know how to do it.
So Elon Musk.
Here is more crap about Elon Musk. Remember I told you Elon Musk stepped down? Here is the information pertaining to that.
And Donald Trump, what people was calling a dynamic duo, is officially over. Elon Musk said he's done with the administration. He did his work, and now he gone. But that shit ain't seeming right to me, bruh. This man said, I can't stand behind Trump's one big, beautiful bill. Whatever the fuck that means. So y'all remember, Trump selected Elon to be the head of DOGE, which means the Department of Government Efficiency. So this man, Elon, had the power to say, you spending too much money here, cut this, cut that. I don't like that. You should cut that. That's too much money being spent. They allowed this man, Elon, to oversee everything that was going on in the U.S. And now he just gone. But what's not gone is the information he got. Mm-hmm. So once Trump rolled out the one big, beautiful bill, that's when allegedly Elon was like, okay, I'm not agreeing with this. This some bullshit. That's when he went public and said that new bill that Donald Trump just said was bloated and reckless. And he don't want no parts of it. So here's where I'm still trying to wrap my head around this shit. So Elon said he's done. But they let this man know every little classified secret with the U.S.
He leaves.
And all the sensitive shit.
Mm-hmm.
He got all of this, y'all. And he's the richest man in the fucking world. If he want to, he can go work anywhere. He can go work in Russia and China. Mm-hmm. This man real live waited 130 days to say I'm going. Because he know if he went past that 130-day mark, he would have became full-time. So was this all planned from the start?
Hell yeah, it was planned from the start. Hell to the freaking yes. Didn't I just show this clip? Hold on, let me see. I might have put the same clip on here twice. I sure did. Okay.
We now have evidence.
All right, let's move on to celeb gossip. This is pretty much the area that you guys are dying to freaking know. And I'm going to repeat pretty much what I said yesterday on the live show. Diddy ex-assistant Capricorn Clark basically collaborated with Kid Cudi on the kidnapping, arson, domestic violence, firearm possession, and more, which is another form of RICO charges, among many other scenarios. Here's the breakdown here. Just a moment. Sorry about that. Had a cough. You see, Diddy is facing racketeering charges under the RICO Act, which prosecutors argue stem from a criminal enterprise involving sex trafficking, drug distribution, and intimidation tactics. This case hinges on proving that Diddy led an organized network that engaged in ongoing illegal activities. One of the most damaging testimonies came from Capricorn Clark, a former employee who described being forced to procure drugs for Diddy and witnesses violent abuse against Cassie Ventura. Clark also testified that Diddy blacklisted her from the industry, which is what Diddy and Carter's are doing to me currently, and MAGA supporters. As I can see, ever since I posted that blind item about the Carters, and I've been in deep with the politics, they once again are deleting new subscribers from my thing and stealing my money. And they pretty much alienated every lawyer and threatened them from ever taking my fucking case. May bad karma heap upon them like a freaking storm immediately. So Modi fucking be. I want blood from them fuckers. And my money back. Clark also testified that Diddy blacklisted her from the industry and used financial hush money agreements to silence the victims. Prosecutors argued that these actions fit the criteria for structural criminal enterprise, which is essential for RICO conviction. Now, additionally, Kid Cudi's testimony detailed an alleged break-in at his home where Diddy reportedly threatened his life after learning about his relationship with Cassie. An LAPD officer and an arson investigator testified about a firebombing incident at Cuddy's home, which prosecutors suggest was linked to Diddy's intimidation tactics. Burning up stuff, threatening to do all this, and blacklist you, kill your parents. This is what he does. And consider he done murdered so many people in the past and thrown people over rivers and bridges who we don't even know he has done to. Okay, people are scared. Remember, Biggie rapped about the shit he did. Raping kids and throwing them over bridges, trafficking them, and then throwing them over the bridge. That's what freaking Biggie rapped. So he's been killing people and all this disgusting crap for so many fucking years. For so many years, and people knew this and said nothing. Now, these testimonies straighten the case that Diddy actions were not isolated, but part of a coordinated criminal operation. While the court has not officially confirmed a RICO conviction, legal experts believe the pattern of abuse, coercion, and financial manipulation could solidify the charges. Now, I know many of you were wondering if Cassie's testimony proved RICO. Well, Cassie Ventura's testimony has been highly impactful in the case against Diddy, but legal experts suggest that Capricorn Clark's testimony may be even more crucial in establishing RICO charges. Now, Clark, a former employee, described a structured criminal enterprise involving drug distribution, intimidation, and financial hush agreements, which aligns with the legal criteria for RICO. Now, Cassie's testimony, however, has provided graphic details of abuse, coercion, reinforcing the pattern of criminal behavior prosecutors needed to prove a racketeering enterprise, which they have done clearly. Now, her statements combined with, Deontay Nash's testimony paint a picture of a systematic control and violence which could further support the RICO case. Oh, and the judge did deny Diddy's legal teams for requesting a mistrial. The defense argued that the testimony from an arson investigator about destroyed fingerprint evidence related to the firebombing of Kid Cudi's car was they said it was prejudicial and could unfairly influence the jury. However, Judge Arwan Subramanian ruled that the testimony was not prejudicial, or whatever they want to fucking call it, prejudicial, and instructed the jury to disregard any mention of destroyed fingerprint cards, like anything that was mentioned by destroyed fingerprint cards, whatever. Let's just throw that out because I don't got time to be arguing with the defense team on trying to use that as a way to freaking throw out more evidence, more testimony, and a mistrial. Just throw it out. Who fucking cares? But it's already imprinted in their minds. Even though it was thrown out, it was already imprinted in their minds. So the jury already have it in their minds already. They're human. They're not robots. You can't just backspace, delete, or whatever. I understand. So despite the defense objection, the trial will continue as scheduled. Okay. So again, stop believing that this what TMZ and the Shade Room say. They're getting paid and are biased as hell. I love their news, but their posts are having me side-eye them, thinking whose side you on. And I said this yesterday. I'm literally rereading my script from yesterday. So, and I did a little spontaneous live show telling you where I go to get my news and things of that nature in terms of Diddy news. If I want to get inside Diddy news of the court, I go to this page. If I want to see the testimony from the witnesses, go to this person's page. If I want to release steam after reading all this horrific things that Cassie went through, I go to this person's page. If I need a breakdown of a certain political figure that's in our politics right now, I'll look at this page. I've done that in a random live show last night. Go check that out. Now, here are some videos.
At this point, the government has built a pretty strong case against Diddy on that RICO charge. And as for the sex trafficking charge, Deontay Nash, who is Diddy and Cassie's former stylist, presented some pretty significant testimony. Not only did Deontay testify that he witnessed Diddy beating Cassie bloody, but he's also the first person in Cassie's inner circle to back her claim that she didn't want to do these freak-offs. Deontay walked into that courtroom as a celebrity stylist would, very fashionable. And he also made one thing very clear, that he didn't want to testify. Deontay was able to back some key points in Cassie's testimony, including Diddy blackmailing Cassie by threatening to release sex tapes, threatening to get her parents fired by sending those tapes to their jobs. He also says that Cassie opened up to him about the freak-offs and witnessed her packing her bag for weekly hotel visits. He says there would be times where he would find himself in the middle of their fights. He also told the story of the OVO Fest, where he and assistant Mia tried to hold Diddy back from beating Cassie. As an angry Diddy started hurling insults at Cassie and started beating her. Deontay says he tried to jump on his back and was thrown off. This is the incident where Cassie says she hit her head on the headboard and had to get plastic surgery to fix the scar. But Deontay says that Diddy would be violent with him too, popping him on the back of the head. He also says that he would help Cassie hide out, which led to him fearing for his own safety. At one point, he says Diddy showed up to his home looking for Cassie, searching his entire home, even the oven, which perplexed him. Deontay says that he was also there at Cassie's 29th birthday, where Diddy was pressuring her to do a freak off, and he says she didn't want to do it. Also says that he spent a lot of time with Cassie in the studio, watching her record so many songs that were never released. Says if he's being generous, 10% of that music was released. But he says he did witness Diddy threaten to not release Cassie's music if she didn't watch her mouth. Fear, intimidation, control were the underlying themes once again during Deontay's testimony. But like other employees, the defense pointed out that Deontay kept in contact with Diddy over the years, to which he responded, "This man's sanity was my safety. That's just what I was used to." The defense also pointed out that Deontay started off as an intern, and it was Diddy who turned him into a celebrity stylist, insinuating that he owes Diddy his career. But I think it underscores why we keep seeing former employees keep coming back to Diddy's world. Because, for example, Capricorn Clark says that she started as an assistant, but then Diddy made her the head of Sean John Women, and then later a creative director. The defense also pointed out that Deontay and Cassie still have a close relationship. In fact, he said he congratulated her on her baby. But home searches, lie detector tests, physical violence, threats, these are all things that we've heard from former Diddy employees. That's why I think Deontay is the 5th employee that we've heard from if you count Don Richard. And at the scene of almost every single situation are Diddy's security. D-Rock, Uncle Paulie, Ruben, we even know their names. Drug use is also a big theme, particularly Cassie's drug use. Capricorn Clark testified that in the mid-2010s, Cassie's drug use started affecting her music, and the defense leaned into that to show that Cassie was an addict. But the prosecution presented the drugs as a way to show that they were used to coerce Cassie to perform these sex acts. I'm on my way to court now, and we're expected to hear from Mia. It's a pseudonym that they use for a former assistant of Diddy's. She's someone that Cassie called a friend, and we're seeing this blend of employee-friend relationships. And also the prosecution really hone in on people that worked in Diddy's business.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Here are more videos. Oh, I'm not Tisa. I'm not Tisa. Do I look like her? Let me ask you guys a question here. Do I look like Tisa? No. No. Tisa, she has curly hair. She wear her curly hair. I don't wear my curly hair. I may have to start because I'm tired of flat ironing my hair. So I'll probably end up wearing it soon. Not Tisa. You talking about Tisa Tells. But thank you for comparing me to that beautiful young lady. She came up though, off the Diddy nose. She came up. That girl is a millionaire now. Well, a thousandaire. She's a thousandaire now. Tell her she want to, do a duet with the Diddy stuff. I'm here for her. But I'm not Tisa. But I do take that as a compliment. All right, here are more videos.
Diddy's former personal assistant, who they are calling Mia, took the stand, and she is testifying to the racketeering and forced labor charges. She is victim number 4. I don't think we're going to be hearing from victim number 3, and there are no sketches allowed of her, so you're going to have to stare at this, unfortunately. She starts off by saying she was born in Virginia Beach, and she started in the fashion world working for Georgina Chapman, who is Harvey Weinstein's ex. Later, she worked as Mike Myers' personal assistant and then Diddy. She applied for work in 2009 when she was about 25 or 26 years old and said she met with Diddy and an HR person at his apartment. When she got there, Diddy answered the door. He was on the phone wearing just his underwear, and the HR person left her there. Eventually got dressed. She got the job and was excited. She was promised a 40-hour work week with $55K as her salary, but instead she got $50K and 24/7 on-call chaos. First 24 hours on the job, she slept none. She said she started off in his New Jersey mansion, then the office, then the studio until 1 p.m. the next day, then back to his apartment. She said she didn't sleep, not that day, and not for several more. She said she once worked 5 days straight with no sleep, running on extended release Adderall. Quote her, she said, my heart went. It felt like I was underwater. My equilibrium was off. I saw lights that weren't there. I burst into tears, hysterical. Apparently, that's when Diddy told her that she could sleep. And when she was asked why she stayed awake that long, she said, I was working. It then pulled up an email she sent to Tony Baez Fletcher on November 10th of 2011 after Diddy had told her he didn't know what she did all day, so she emailed a list of her responsibilities. To her, all of Puff Daddy's social media, main liaison between Puff Daddy and Hollywood, protect him at all times, stay within PD's eyesight at all times unless advised otherwise. From when he wakes up to when he sleeps, I manage his professional and personal life. And she added, he could ask you to crack his knuckles, do his taxes, or write his movie. She then talked about control over her movement and privacy and how she had an apartment in New York City, but her roommates laughed at the fact that they practically lived with ghosts because she was never there. She also lived in multiple Diddy homes, listing Beverly Grove, Beverly Crest, Mapleton in LA, 2-star in Miami, and also talked about living in the staff house in LA and how she wasn't allowed to lock her door. In fact, she said Diddy told her, this is my house. No one locks doors in my house. Meanwhile, security had theirs deadbolted and keypads on their rooms. Then talked about how one night after Diddy fell asleep, she tried to sneak out at 2 a.m. and she got in trouble. Apparently, security called her saying Diddy sent them to go find her, and this was around 2009 or 2010. Also testified how Diddy verbally and physically abused her on multiple occasions, saying he threw things at her, slammed her against the wall, shoved her into a pool, threw an ice bucket on her head, slammed her arms in a door, and she added that he SA'd me more than once. Asked if he was violent specifically towards her, she simply said yes. She was also asked to describe working for Diddy, and she said it was chaotic, it was toxic. It could be exciting. The highs were really high. The lows were really, really low. His mood controlled everything from her job, her schedule, to her mental state. Said she had worked for Diddy from 2009 to 2017. And during that time period, there was an entire year where she was the only personal assistant. She testified saying, I didn't have time to feel. It was insane. Diddy gave her a pep talk saying he needed a second brain, and she felt like she needed to prove herself to him. In terms of bonuses, they were promised, but she never got them. Also talked about working in TV and films and how it was a personal success of hers. Said that she and Diddy started the Revolt Film Production Company together, and it was a separate entity from his Revolt TV brand. She said she was running his film production company for years and finally got the title to reflect her work. She was still doing some personal assistant work when she took on this new role, but her starting salary was $70,000. And a few years later, it went up to $100K. Where they took a 10-minute break, but she's now back on the stand, and I will be back when they go on their lunch break.
This is crazy.
After the lunch break, Mia continued talking more about Diddy's abuse and the work culture that he had created. Mia described the terrifying night in 2012 when she took a trip with Diddy and Cassie to Parrot Cay in Turks and Caicos. She said she was sleeping in her room when Cassie ran in screaming, waking her up in the middle of the night. Cassie was yelling, "You've got to help me. He's going to unalive me." So the two barricaded the door with furniture, and Diddy was allegedly banging and screaming to be let in. She said she had a porch that went out to the beach, and so they started running. She said there were two separate occasions where she remembered running, hiding, and trying to escape. Eventually got onto paddle boards and went out into the water, and Diddy was on the beach screaming at them. She said the water was flat and they went out far, and Diddy was getting smaller and smaller. All of this was happening at night, and she said, but the sky got dark and we debated if it was scarier to face nature or go back to Puff. Eventually, they went back but did not call the police. And when asked why, she said, I believe Puff's authority was above the police. This was before social media and Me Too. There were no examples of people standing up. She also said, I thought it was under the confidentiality deal with Puff's business. She went on to describe seeing Cassie with black eyes, bruises, busted lips, and a gash on her forehead. At events like the Perfect Match premiere and the Cannes Film Festival, she said that Cassie had visible bruising under her makeup. Her words, there was a busted lip at Cannes. In the hotel room, Cass played me an audio recording of Puff hitting her. She said she could hear the panic in Cassie's voice and the actual sound of violence. Said at Brad Pitt's movie premiere of Killing Them Softly, she saw Diddy digging his nails into her arm and speaking to her in a low voice, but then asked her to take care of Cassie by bringing her arnica gel for her bruises. She then talked about December of 2011, which Diddy had found out about Kid Cudi, and she said the mood was darker than normal. She had told Diddy that Cassie was talking to somebody else and it was Kid Cudi, and she said he seemed heartbroken. It was ominous. I'd never witnessed Cass to do something to really cause him to be upset. I felt something bad would happen. She then reached out to Diddy's security, D-Rock, and they read what she wrote in the email to him, and it said, I'm worried about P. This feels different. Hit this email when you get it. Love you. She clarified that love you was something they all said and it was not romantic. And then she talked about setting up hotel nights, which is no different than what anybody else on the stand had said. When talking about bringing all his stuff, one of the things that stood out was that she said he wanted candles and they all had to be white. And if there were any labels on them, it had to be peeled off. But she would bring everything to the hotel room that he had asked for, including thousands of dollars, which we know what he was doing with that money. She talked about seeing Cassie at one of the hotels in London, saying, I brought something to the room. Cass opened the door. She was wearing a bright blue wig. When they asked her how did she appear, she said Cassie was struggling. I asked, are you good? She closed the door. He would then have her clean the rooms afterwards, and she said the rooms were destroyed. Candle wax, oil on the walls, broken glass, sometimes blood. And she said that Diddy had told her once that the blood was period blood. She also testified that one time in LA, they were in the car and Cassie got a call from Diddy and said that he wanted her at the hotel, but she didn't want to go and she got sick. She said after the hotel night, Diddy and Cassie would stay in the room sleeping and they only got up to eat. After she had done any substances before working with Diddy, she said no, but one time Diddy gave her MDMA and told her she was part of the Breakfast Club now. When asked if she had taken K, she said yes at Burning Man. They were partying on a tour bus. Diddy had the black shades down and he had the substances on plates. And she tried to say she didn't want to do it. He said he apparently had 3 substances laid out, Molly, Snow, and K. He tried to get people to guess which was which, and when she hesitated, she said he got in my face and humiliated me, made me snort K. I didn't feel like I had a choice. Asked if Diddy had done substances while working, she said he was always working, and then talked about a time where he had done substances on the way to a taping of Chelsea Handler. In terms of how he treated her, sometimes like a best friend and working partner, and other times like she was a worthless piece of crap. Sometimes he would compliment her work and give her life advice. Other times he would go on a rant and even threaten her job. She then talked about the different times he threw things at her, which one of the incidents happened to be a bowl of spaghetti. He had asked her to go gather people, but she really needed to use the bathroom to change her tampon, and he yelled at her saying, yo girl, I said do it now. She said blood was dripping down my leg, and I said, I have to go change my tampon. And he threw his bowl of spaghetti at me, then said, get the F out of my house. And he chased me out. I was barefoot. I hid in a bush, and then I went to a hotel. Later, HR suspended her once again without pay per Diddy's request. She talked about another incident where Swift Beat was present and the Wi-Fi was not working, so she went to go and try and fix it. Came back and informed Diddy that they were working on it, and he screamed at me to call Bill Gates, then chucked the computer towards my head, and it missed me by inches. She said, I ran and hid behind the luggage van, and I wondered, what did I do to make him like this to me? She talked about another time where she was in Turks and Caicos, and she was on a hammock by her room, and Diddy came over, dumping a bucket of ice on her, screaming. She said he took her phone, but she was freaking out because she and the team had been messaging about his moods. Because she didn't want him to see that, she jumped on his back, and he threw her into the pool. At the Revolt office, she said he was using her phone, and again, she freaked out because she might have called him an a-hole, and she said, I tried to get the phone back, and he ran into the bathroom, then slammed the door on my arm repeatedly. He said she had bruises, and later she saw him at the studio, and he told me he sent all my compromising photos to his phone in case I had stuff on him, kind of like a bullying joke. She said she had no photos, so she knew that he was lying. They then showed emails between her, Tony, and Shannon where she said, Puff took my iPhone, and she said, I don't know when I'll get it back. Tony asked her what happened, and I said, definitely an in-person story. When the prosecutor asked her why she wrote that, she said, I wouldn't put violence in writing. They then took a 10-minute break, and once they're back, she will be done with her testimony for the day. I'm not sure if it's going to bleed into tomorrow, but I will let you guys know once 4 o'clock hits.
Oh my gosh, this was crazy. Oh my gosh. Oh, hi, D. Germany. Where have you been? Oh. I was here. They blacklisted me. They still long story. I've been here. They just been hiding me. Yeah, I'm glad you're back. Share, share, share. Hit that like button, you guys. Hit that like button. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Are you guys seeing this? Diddy is the freaking monster and prick. All I want to do is hug her. I swear. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is, wow. This girl is the epitome of a survivor. For her to go through all, he was literally using her as a sex slave and a personal punching bag. I mean, and she came out of it beautiful, happy. Oh, this is terrible. Here's more of this tragic news.
Prince's security had to pull Diddy off Cassie right in the middle of a party. Former assistant testified today that the incident occurred at one of Prince's private parties back in 2011 or 2012, and that Diddy was allegedly attacking Cassie so aggressively that one of Prince's security had to intervene. But that's just one piece of what media describes as years of very violence.
And I don't feel I can't listen to more of that. I'm sorry. I just can't. Sorry. Nope, can't do it. Sorry. Nope. Let's move on here. Nope. Okay, we're gonna talk about the Bible authenticity. That's definitely latent, has been called into question. The Bible authenticity has been called into question. As I've been saying for some time now, some of the Bible contents are to be questioned. Take a look at these videos and then we'll talk.
The only way to kill the giants was to drown them. The flood was not...
Okay, this particular insert is about the giants because a lot of people are learning about the giants. We're seeing rock formations that in the formate of giants or whatever, and we hear about giants in the Bible. Although if you have scholars or teachers or historians or whoever the case may be, they were trying to deny the existence of giants. And years ago, they definitely made anyone who talked about giants, they definitely said it never existed. It's just a myth. They say there was just dinosaurs or some shit like that. But we all know giants definitely did exist. And we are going to see an insert and read an insert on what happened to the giants. If you guys read the Bible or read the Book of Enoch or the Ethiopian Bible or this historical text altogether, you would know what happened to the giants. They did, in fact, exist. And over time, they descended the human height because I guess God and Leo felt that it was irrelevant anymore. Who knows? He said they weren't listening to him, so he kind of, manipulated DNA and descended the age of life in terms of how long they lived. They used to live hundreds of years back then, and he declined that to 110 tops, 20 if you're lucky, if that, and descended their height as well. But that's starting to fade out. If you haven't noticed, so you're going to probably start seeing a lot more taller people and people living longer than expected. Now that we're transitioning to the age of Aquarius, a lot of things are going to start changing. And have anyone been feeling like time has been going fast and a lot of deja vu? I've been feeling so much deja vu, it's driving me freaking crazy. Seriously, I felt that I heard news before and then I saw it before. And I'm thinking I could have sworn I saw it before, unless we're repeating the same moments. Are we going backwards and forwards? I don't know. We'll talk about that in a live show, but I just want to point that out.
Only sent to destroy corrupt mankind, but also to exterminate. The only way to kill the giants was to drown them. The flood was not only sent to destroy corrupt mankind, but also to exterminate the giants that inhabited the earth at that time. Genesis 6:4 mentions there were giants on the earth in those days, when the sons of God were joined to the daughters of men and begot children to them. These giants, known as the Nephilim, were the result of a forbidden mixture between fallen angels and humans. They were powerful and violent beings whose existence symbolized the extreme corruption that had spread throughout the world. The flood lasted 40 days and 40 nights because it was to wipe out not only sinful humans, but also these giant creatures whose strength and endurance required prolonged divine action. The flood was the only way to completely eliminate that corruption. Want the full truth behind the flood and the Nephilim? The Book of Enoch holds the answers. Grab your copy now through the link below.
Yeah, so get that book. Now, here are some of the texts in the Bible that many of you should really be questioning. Remember, the individuals and the prominent figures in the Bible did not read it. They did not prove the text. They were long dead before this Bible was even written and discovered. And I think you guys need to take that into consideration, because I feel that a lot of Christians and people who study the Bible and preach the Bible, they tend to leave that part out, that the people that are talking about the Bible did not approve these texts, and they were dead, and a lot of them didn't even know how to read. So just want you to point that out. So a lot of this stuff could be manipulated, misconstrued, and just fictitious. Now, there are a lot of historical texts that does validate some findings and research that has been discovered. So that part is true, because you see of these historical texts in other books as well. But certain mentions of certain followers and what they claim Jesus said, his entire existence still has been debated by many scholars right to this day. I'm just going to point that out. But listen to this gentleman and this young lady bring up some pretty key points. Like, the person who we think is good may not be good, and the person we think is evil may not be evil. So that TV show Lucifer may be on point. I'm just going to point that out. Go ahead and listen to these.
So it's come to my attention that there are a lot of people that do not know who are in the church. And actually some people who deconstructed and deconverted from the church don't know this as well. But Moses, Abraham, Jeremiah, characters like that never existed. They do not exist anywhere except within those writings. There is no archaeological evidence for ancient Egyptians ever enslaving ancient Israelites. As a matter of fact, the term Israelite did not get invented until after the alleged capturing and enslaving of the Israelites took place. The timelines are off badly. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John never existed. Those are names attributed by the church to those writings because they are anonymous. This is staggering. Let's go back to Moses. If Moses never existed, which he did not, do your research. Do not do a basic Google search where you're going to get biased journal articles from Christians. No, you want scholarly articles. You want a non-biased article. You want those research studies that have been conducted in over and over again rendered the same results. You want the facts, not feelings. And so you'll find that people like Moses was made up. You hear people say, oh, well, the name was changed, but he really did exist. You did not. How can you write about your own death? These are things that only takes critical thinking to understand, this is fiction. And the serpent said unto the woman. At that point in time, I think a reasonable mind who's not blinded by this thing called faith will understand that that's fiction. A child, as soon as they read that the serpent said unto the woman, and they ask the question, what is the serpent? And if you refer to any animal, they're going to say, this is not real. So did you know that Moses, Abraham, all of these individuals that we believe were real, they're false. None of them ever existed. Now, this is liberating. It's liberating. And I hope that you find out why it's liberating.
Now, the Moses story, as he's referencing, it is not made up. That has been proven with meteorologists, geologists, paleontologists, archaeologists, historians. That has been proven time and time again that there was a flood. But they are trying to figure out where the flood is located. They're just going by historical text saying it was in Africa. But they can't find a legitimate proof that this alleged global flood happened in Africa, because there are a lot of historical monuments and findings there that does not give an indication that it's water damage or was submerged in water or ocean sea altogether. However, you will find a lot of those artifacts, mountains, structures, whatever, here in America. But America is so restricted from archaeologists' digs and excavations or anything of the nature, because we have so many laws and federal government and yada, 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 guarding anything that could literally prove a lot of historical things here in America. They have kept anyone from doing it, including Biden. Okay. So they can't prove it. But people from observing and sneakily doing their own research can definitely say that the flood did not happen in Africa. It happened here in America, not all over America either, but it definitely happened here in America. You can see some of those aftermath, even after all of these years, in terms of the mountain moldings and things of that nature, definitely in the Grand Canyon. Okay. And mountains all over the world. You know, Mexico, you find that in there. You find some in Canada. And remember, Antarctica was not pretty much covered with ice thousands of years ago. It happened later on. So you would definitely start seeing, as the ice has been melting progressively, you'll probably start seeing a lot of historical landmarks and buildings and structures starting to be unearthed from that ice. Will they broadcast it? Probably not, because it'll prove a lot of other ethnicities that's been in that area. And that's something, again, they don't want you to know. And parts of that area is restricted as well. You're only able to see the tour viewing of that area. Just want to point that out. But the Noah's flood is definitely proven, which you can read in the book of Enoch, the Ethiopian Bible, and a lot of historical texts. That definitely did happen. They did change it a little bit and tweaked it in the Bible to, you know, pretty much submit and coincide with their political agenda that they put in that Bible, but it still happened. Now, this young lady here, as I stated before, are going to call into question about who is really a genocidal maniac and who really isn't. I know people are saying, oh my gosh, let God be with you. You guys need to, this is a new age, start questioning things. Once you start questioning things, you will be stripped of your old beliefs and a lot of things, and then you will be transformed. But the transformation is definitely beautiful because you think clearly. Absolutely freaking. Take a listen to this.
Satan was right to rebel. Think about it. When Satan rebelled and left heaven, a third of the angels went with him. Imagine you quit your job and a third of the company decides, fuck it, fuck this place, I'm going with you. I saw that happen. I'm looking at the one that's in charge. What the fuck are you up here doing to where a third of your company has decided to leave at once? Oh, well, he was kicked out because he wanted to be like God. If he was kicked out of heaven, how was he allowed to go back in the book of Job? He shows back up to heaven again. I don't think I can go back to a place if I got kicked out of there. And when he shows back up, it's not like God tells him, hey, get the fuck out, I kicked you out of here. No, the first thing God says is, hey, bro, where you been at? And then they make the bet. And if you really think about it, we don't know much about Satan, the devil, Lucifer, whatever. I'm using them interchangeably in this video. Main thing the Christians try to say is, oh, the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He's evil and he's out to get you and all of that. If you read the Bible, it's God who's doing all the killing, the stealing, and the destroying. The devil wasn't really doing all of that. The only people he killed was Job's family. And that was part of the bet. And so, you know, God signed off on that. He allowed that to happen. The devil hasn't stolen anything. He hasn't destroyed anything. And we don't really know much else about him. Is that not strange? Does that not raise any eyebrows at all? He's supposed to be like our number one enemy. And, oh, he's out to get you. And, oh, this, that, and the third. And we know like nothing about him. We don't know his story. We don't know where he came from. We're just told that he's evil. And we're being told that he's evil by the one that's actually out here murdering people. God has killed millions, if not billions of people. And he's the one who created evil. I will quote Isaiah 45:7 until I am blue in the fucking face. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all of these things. So we're supposed to believe the one who literally created evil, that he's not the evil one. It's actually the devil who hasn't done anything. I call fucking bullshit.
You guys have to seriously understand that part. I mean, you guys cannot be oblivious to what I just fucking said. Seriously. And what she just said. I mean, let's talk about the desert situation. It said in the desert that Jesus not Jesus was tempted by Satan, devil, or whatever. They're not the same, by the way, but I forget what he said. I don't know if it says Satan or something like that. And to urge him to bow down and worship him. But in other scriptures and texts, the devil never asks anyone to worship him. He always deliver insider truth and to pretty much practice free will to those who follow God, allegedly. So why would he ask someone to worship him? We don't even know who came back and told that story. It was just a fucking story. We don't know who came back and said that story. What, he just go back to his disciples or his homeboys and say, guess what? I was tempted in the desert when I was fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. This 40 days and 40 nights seems to be a very big trend in this Bible. You know, who came back and even told that freaking story? We don't even know who told that freaking story. The whole story could be made up. This whole thing could be fucking made up. Seriously. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to, you know, teeter you guys away from your religious Christianity that's been drilled in your mind. But do know that Christianity was forced upon our people. And let's just be realistic here. During the times of slavery, when this was definitely enforced on our people to believe, saying that you must believe this, they were praying to the same Jesus. But their scripture said you have to honor your slave masters and pain should be a sacrifice for your land or people. Paraphrasing is pretty much what it said. The Bible was literally honoring slavery. And that's a fact. Two individuals, two different races, the race that's suffering and the race that's benefiting from the prayer. So two different people are praying to the same entity in God, but one entity prayer is being answered. And they are the ones who started this Christian stuff in the first place. Just want to point that out. So our people were forced. They couldn't read anything else. The only thing they were able to read is that Bible. Makes you wonder, huh? Was it to save their souls or keep their souls internally locked and brainwashed so they cannot tap into the inner power? They even went a step farther and said you shouldn't practice in voodoo, and anything of the nature, and you shouldn't wear crystals. Anything, but they were allowed to wear crystals in their robes. They were allowed to practice witchcraft and voodoo in their sermons and things of that nature. They're chanting, going up to the altar, putting the oil on your forehead, bow down to identity, and chanting the same words over and over again is practicing of witchcraft. But they were able to do that, but they told you that you had to forbid it. They said braids were evil. You shouldn't wear braids. Anything that teetered away from Negroes, Black, Hispanics, whoever, colored people, and Chinese, they're a part of our culture too. They told you not to practice it. You shouldn't do it. You should steer away from it. It's evil. So all of our lives, we were told the things that were a part of our culture was in fact evil. Don't get me started on a demon myth, because that would really piss you guys off. That was a whole malarkey and foolish crap altogether. Yeah, the TV series Lucifer really was true. I can see why the Vatican and the Romans, and not the Rome, I should have said, was trying to take that movie off the air. I can see why, because it definitely brought up a lot of true facts. I'm just going to point that out here. Moving on to another subject here.
Satan was right to rebel.
So it's come to my attention that there are a lot of people that do not know.
But yes, no, it's getting definitely deep. It's getting definitely deep. So Satan, who enlightened people, let me point that out. I want to say that she brought up a point that I was going to say, because I'm not going off a script with this religious stuff. I'm just, remember, history is my thing. I don't really need a script. So anyway, Satan was the one who enlightened Adam and Eve, which is Adam and Eve, because we are not descended from Adam and Eve. It's Adam and the mitochondria Eve. But we'll go ahead and say their person just for argument's sake. He enlightened them and told them what his brother was doing, which you can read in the book of Enoch. Like, you don't have to worship him. You are a part of us. We made you part of us. So we are descendants from these entities and gods. But his brother wanted people to worship him. Okay. And then he brought down forth new recruiters, God Amon, who in fact said, in your prayers in my name. The whole point of religion is to keep us brainwashed and confined and restricted from that tapping into our inner powers. The age of Aquarius is supposed to break the old religious beliefs and chains. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's happening. It needs to be broken. The chains of religion needs to be broken. That veil of having to idolize someone. You're supposed to idolize yourself, worship yourself. And don't be afraid to call on your angels. Don't be afraid to call your demons. Your demons are supposed to be your protectors. The demons are only a manifestation of your weaknesses, of your inner dark desires. You empower your demons. They don't empower you. They don't affect you. You empower them. You feed them. Whatever inner desire that's been corrupted in your mind or you've been obsessed with, they grow from your manifestation, not from some other demon devil entity. They are a part of your weaknesses. You control them yourself. Now, the Bible has made them look like a bunch of demonic people running around here called the chaos and havocs. No, they're a manifestation of your mind, your subconscious mind. So if you are being corrupted and you are, see, religion, when you are brainwashed by religion, they make you an open vessel for more witchcraft. I had to learn that the hard way because I was attracting things that I was in fear of. When I came out of those chains, I no longer attracted those people. They were running away from me, which I want them to do. Remember, bless is an old ancient word. I talked about this. I probably end up doing a slideshow just to practice it because I just wrote this slideshow for a public speaking event. But bless is an old rooted word to be hollow in the blood. And I'm paraphrasing. Hollow in the blood, to be open to the blood, which means submerge yourself in blood. That is the rooted word of bless, aside from the other word, which is be less, which means to be an open vessel to any manifestation or any spells casting. So open vessel to any brainwashing. So when you say bless this food, you're saying make this food hollow in blood, which means make this food be submerged in blood. It doesn't matter who blood it is. It could be evil blood, whatever. Be submerged in whatever negative crap it is. Do not say blessed anymore. Say cleanse this food to the nerves of my body. And whatever you want to say in it and mote it be. That is a cleansing spell casted on your food. Don't say blessed because you're opening your food to any infections, to corrupt your body or health or whatever. Don't say that. The church forced that into because they were playing on people ignorant. So their teachings can brainwash their followers so they can, in the long term, be open to do whatever they tell them to do, which is the malarkey in the Bible saying the guy who's a genocidal maniac and kills anyone who doesn't believe in him is supposed to be jealous and seriously just crazy, no offense. You're supposed to honor, but go against Satan because he tells the truth. Huh? Yeah. You see how fucked up that sounds, you know? But anyway, moving on to another subject here. Okay, we're going to talk about the pillar of salt. Now, the book of Genesis, we're going to point this out here, and I'm going to wrap this up because I have somewhere to go. The book of Genesis, Lot and his family were instructed to flee the city of Sodom and Gomorrah before its divine destruction. They were warned not to look back as they escaped. But Lot's wife disobeyed. She had to look back and was immediately turned into a pillar of salt. Her fate is often seen as a cautionary tale about disobedience, regret, and the danger of dwelling on the past. Many religious interpretations suggest her transformation symbolizes the consequences of longing for a sinful life left behind. At least that's what the Bible wants you to do, and preachers saying, don't disobey me. Remember, disobedience was really a factor of religion. You have to do whatever they say. Get on your knees and pray to God. I tell you to God, give me 10% of your earnings and pay taxes and your bills and everything else, but make sure you give me my fucking money. Just saying. Some scholars believe the story was influenced by the Dead Sea region, where natural salt formations resembles pillars. The area's unique geology may have inspired the biblical account, blending spiritual and natural elements. Now, whether viewed as religious lesson or historical reflection of the landscape, the tale remains a powerful metaphor for the importance of moving forward without hesitation. Now, bring up this pillar of salt because people are starting to notice rock formations that could be, elements of this particular story. Now, there have been a lot of things that's been discovered in the bottom of the sea. Like these sea of people who definitely look like people. They're saying they were old statues, but they don't look like old statues. Look like they were frozen into place where they stood. Now, I saw a movie the other day on Hulu where it was this dark force in the sea. It was a really dark force in the sea, and like a big shark or something. And the shark was able to do a lot of crazy things with the atmosphere. Like it was sent by some evil entity or something, and it was just in the ocean causing chaos and ruckus. And thousands of years ago, it caused a huge tsunami over the land, and the people who were around at that time, that land that it affected, it turned them into this. I forgot the name of the movie. I'll find out the name of the movie and I'll put it in my community post so you guys can check that out. So when we look at these pillars of salt that weren't made, we need to think about where was this, because this had to be on land at some point. It wasn't underwater. And what is the history behind it? People are starting to question the narratives that the Bible does not ever answer. And here are more videos and a story that I just told you about, the whole the pillar of salt in terms of Sodom and Gomorrah. We're going to hear that story again, okay?
The story of the woman who became a pillar of salt is a short but intriguing account from the Bible. In the book of Genesis, it is recorded that God sent 2 angels to Sodom and Gomorrah to destroy the cities because of their wickedness. Before the destruction, the angels instructed Lot, a righteous man who lived in Sodom, to flee the city with his wife and daughters. As Lot and his family fled, the angels warned them not to look back at the destruction. However, Lot's wife disobeyed and turned to look back at the city. In that moment, she was transformed into a pillar of salt. The story has been interpreted in different ways over the years, with some scholars suggesting that the woman's disobedience was a symbol of her attachment to the sinful lifestyle of Sodom and Gomorrah. Others have speculated that her transformation into a pillar of salt was a literal punishment from God for her disobedience. Regardless of the interpretation, the story of the woman who became a pillar of salt serves as a warning about the dangers of disobedience and the consequences that can come from turning away from God's plan. It is a reminder that we must always strive to obey God and follow his path, even when it is difficult or uncomfortable. This is the end of this episode. Subscribe for more content.
You guys see the manipulation in that story. They don't see the whoever wrote the Bible in terms of this particular event, they don't know how this person turned into a pillar of salt. They weren't there. All of this is left to assumption and their own freaking theology and their own assumptions and stories. They're using a story or a rock formation or a myth for their own political freaking agenda. No one knows what happened. This is what happens if you turn away from God's word. What the fuck ever. This could have been a natural freaking disaster, just like that whatever dead fish or whatever the heck that was in the ocean, or some volcano erupted and it just came out of nowhere and just may have done this. This could have been a natural thing that could have happened in that area. But you know what they did? This could be a way for me to influence people. If they don't listen to me, they should die and suffer. He's supposed to be a God of love. Sorry. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Anyway, but seriously, this is what we're doing? Okay. Anyway, but I just want you guys to think about this shit here. Okay, here are more formations that look like this person here.
The story of the woman who became...
This is the pillar of salt.
This is the Pillar of Salt. It looks like a statue, a monument. Imagine, hold on, let me get a closer picture. Like, imagine you looked back and this is what you turned into, and you're stuck and like you crystallized into a monument of salt. Like, I can't even fathom. Like, not no pixie dust, not no crystals of salt, a whole monument of salt. And at the end of the day, we really can't judge Lot's wife for looking back, because she looked back because she was so sad. Like, she was leaving her home. Her home was literally being destroyed. Family was being destroyed. Friends was being destroyed. Everything. Like, the city was so wicked that God literally said, I'm going to destroy this city and y'all need to get out. That's literally the equivalent to, I am going to burn down your city. The city you live in right now, imagine God coming to your city and saying, yeah, I'm going to burn down your house and all your friends, everybody in this city. It's so much wickedness going on that I am going to burn down the city. But you and your family, I need y'all to get out. And Lot's wife just so happened to look back because she like, damn, like, it's really being burnt down. Like,
but do you see the beginning stigma they are putting against women? Saying women are forever disobedient. They need to be controlled because they don't listen. This was the beginning of a male-dominant ruling when it comes to religious and idolatry. The woman, we don't even know if that could have been a woman. That could have been a man. I mean, seriously. But this was their way of manipulating and saying it was a woman that looked back. So women, they can't think for themselves. They need to be, told what to think. It's like the Diddy Cassie situation and a lot of other old marriages. This is what was the beginning of what they were trying to do. She looked back. We don't know who really looked back. We don't even know if this fucking story is true. That could just been a goddamn statue that just so happened to decrepit. Who the fuck knows? We don't know. Did they cut it open and see if it was blood or flesh like certain mountains they have done? No. We're just assuming what it is from the church, who is known to lie for their own agenda. So the woman looked back. The woman, it wasn't even an apple in the garden. The fruit is knowledge. Okay? Had nothing to do with fruit. But the woman, so this is where that is. This is where the manipulation was going, and the narrating of this story was starting to begin. Like, women can't be equivalent to the man. We have to be beneath the man. We have to be obedient to the man. We aren't allowed to think for ourselves when scientists and brain specialists have came out in droves and told you women brains are different from men brains. Women base their thoughts over emotions. There's emotions everywhere. It has to be emotion, heart, whatever, into our thoughts. Men brains, not talking about my beautiful man, I love you. Their brains is more compartmentalized. They don't base a lot of their decisions from emotions. And that is a scientific fact. I'm not even lying about that part. That's a fact, seriously. I did a live show about that. I'll find it and I'll post it. But yes, so this is the beginning stigma of dimming the power of women and our voice. This is where this was starting to come into narration.
She really had a good reason to look back. She should not have looked back, but she did. And we look back on so much stuff all the time. We will all be salt shakers out here, literally. Because if you really think about it, how many times have you, like, quote unquote, got delivered from something, but you went back to it? Oh, I'm not going to drink no more. I promise I'm not going to drink no more. Go back to drinking. He was toxic. I'm not going to go back to him no more. I'm never going to deal with him. Go back to him. We would all be salt shakers. This is Luke chapter 17, where basically it's saying, like, in the days of Lot, people were just going about their daily business, doing the buying, eatings.
So look at this. You see this? Until the morning Lot left, the fire and burning sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. Sulfur rained down. Didn't I just tell you that? Which means it could have been a volcano or something. The sulfur could have been the reason why they turned into salt. Maybe she probably stopped as they were running away from this volcano that was erupting. And whoever this guardian was, who they claim was God back in the day, but said, don't look back, keep running. but she had to look back and got caught on to the sofa rain that turned into a pillar of salt. Or whatever it does. I don't know what it does. We don't know what all are in every volcano that's in the world. We just assuming that it's whatever they claim it is on TV. We don't know. We don't know. So this could have been a basic explanation on why this happened to this person, if this even happened. Could have been a basic scientific explanation, and they turned it to a whole message saying women are obedient. You should listen to God. When God tell you to do something, you do it. You see how they just twist things? They could have just been a simple explanation. Seriously. This is what I'm seeing here. Look what they said. Look. Yes, it will be business as usual right up to the day when the Son of Man is revealed. On the day, a person on the deck or roof must not go down into the house to pack. A person in the field, must not return home. Remember what happened to Lot's wife? If you cling to your life, you will lose it. And if you let your life go, you will save it. Remember what happened to Lot's wife? Okay, this is what we're doing here. So they clearly took historical events, natural disasters, and put their own political agenda right smack dead in the middle of this particular scripture.
We are not the most technically advanced civilization because many years ago, they had weapons that could turn your land into dust. Deserts are not natural. They are a direct result of war. There once was a weapon that could literally turn your land into a pillar of salt, making sure nothing could ever grow again. This is the reason why people hallucinate when they're in the desert. This is the reason why nothing can grow in the desert. And this is the reason why in the sand, there's loads of small bits of glass. Because these used to be buildings. This used to be someone's city. Now look at this modern building next to this ancient building. In fact, they don't even say that this is the building. They say this is a result of wind erosion. It's just a cave. But the eyes are useless when the mind is blind. Now take a look at this place. I'm sure you've all seen this place. This place is famous. Did you know that you're looking at a burial site? You're looking at a death zone. Look at the big tree trunk in the back. Oh, you son of a bitch. Who cut down the tree?
Yes, some mountains are definitely tree trunks. If you guys haven't noticed that, they are definitely tree trunks. Just want to say that.
The pillar of salt.
So anyway, getting back to what I was saying here, and that's pretty much it. We are going to end this live show here. I don't think I have any slides. Oh, forgot. Damn, I do. Sorry. I was about to be out. Like, I'm out of here for real. I was about to roll out the fuck out of here. All right, in random news here, Chris Brown has been asked to perform Michael Jackson. As you know, he's the bomb diggity. I was going to play this video, but you guys can find this video all over TikTok, YouTube. Look it up. Don't got time to even tell you. Anyway, but yes, he performed. Stephanie Mills wanted Chris Brown to do the Michael Jackson tribute during his tour, and I think that'd be fantastic. Do it, Chris Brown, because you are the bomb. Do it. It will be fantastic. As you know, someone or something is definitely trying to stop the success for Chris Brown. They're trying to manipulate and sabotage his tour, conveniently on the same time that Beyonce is on tour. So we can just imagine who's doing that. You know, a J and a Z, like they're doing pretty much to my channel. I can't wait to see it be exposed, I swear. Anyway, but that's pretty much what's been happening. Every time he come out with a tour, new album, shit just seems to happen. This is too many coincidences for it to be a freaking coincidence. I'm going to point that out. Hailey Bieber rumors after Justin controversial post. It says here in the blind item, you can just tell that the north of the border singer is done with his wife. He shows her zero respect, which is true because he don't show her any respect at all. He shows her zero respect. Okay, Justin Bieber definitely does. Here are a few videos of his. Now, it was divorce rumor. I made this yesterday, so there's an update today about what Hailey Bieber deal and things of that nature. I'll give you a brief snippet of that. But this was pretty much made yesterday.
New day, new Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber divorce drama. So it says here, Hailey Bieber sparks divorce party rumors after that post from Justin Bieber. So let's see what this article says. Hailey is clearly cutting ties with Justin and making a point of going on solo outings. But this was such a glamorous party at a time when Justin is also off on his own. Everyone thinks she is secretly celebrating their split. The fashion event was hosted by Kylie's apparel brand Kai and London-based designer Dilara, and provided a night of fun for Hailey, who looks stunning in a skin-tight cream mini dress. This comes after Hailey recently got her first Vogue cover and opened up about motherhood and the constant backlash and divorce rumors she deals with. However, her husband, Justin, took the opportunity to stir up even more backlash by writing a controversial post on Instagram. Sharing her cover, he wrote that he once told her she'd never get a Vogue cover and that he was sadly mistaken. Girl, what was the point of that article? You see, sometimes, let me tell you something, best friend. I love spilling tea and stuff, but because she went on a solo night does not mean that she's divorcing him. Now, should he be sleeping on the couch for the mess that he wrote? Do you think that you're going to get up in my milkshake after you wrote that damn Vogue message? Girl, she's not divorcing him. You saw her at that SZA concert giving Kris Jenner, "You're doing amazing, sweetie," while Justin performed. So that article is causing quite the stir, and a lot of people are now bringing up the divorce drama of the week. But I'll tell you this, best friend. You know what? Sometimes you got to look at articles with a grain of salt. Just because she went to an event solo doesn't mean anything. So, best friend, I'm declaring this a reach. It's literally giving Everest. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that follow for more tea.
He is so cute. Now, here are some events and outings where Justin Bieber totally disrespected Hailey Bieber. Ooh, take a look at this. I don't know if that's copyrighted, and I'm not doing that, so sorry. As you can see, he walks to the car, didn't bother opening the door for her. He just run his young ass in there and just say, "Okay, you get in. How you gonna get in? Call it a day." And this is him verbally saying some stuff. This is him on a skateboard and completely leave her. She falls. Yeah. Who cares? This is her. I believe she was trying to give him affection or whatever, and he was being a jerk.
Playground? This is like a playground?
Oh, look how he's talking to her.
It is not very involved, to be honest. I think he trusts my vision.
She was involved in pretty much all of the decision making as far as like the wedding was concerned.
Yeah. Now you can take it as a grain of salt. These are two young kids and they still have a lot to learn. I always tell people, do not get married in your fucking 20s. Just don't get married in your 20s. Screw what society say. Don't get married in your 20s. Live your 20s to just get all that freedom, all that crap out of your system. And then when you reach your 30s, and if you feel like you still want to get married, get married. If you don't, then don't. Shit. You don't got to get married. Married is not the final approval of, I don't know, this final seal of achieving something. Your achievement is whatever you want your achievement to be, not what society tells you it should be. So don't think marriage is the way to go, because it isn't. It isn't. So anyway, so Justin Bieber pretty much changed his tune when Hailey Bieber sells her beauty brand for about approximately $1 billion. Congratulations. He also posted a Vogue post here saying that, you know, he told her she would never be on Vogue. Is he fucking nuts? She may have gotten you in her real devious way. You got to give a girl her props for her hustle. But she clearly have a body and a face like a model. I mean, a fashion designer would love to have her on that runway. She looked just like the other skinny ass models is on the runway. So trust me, she was right up their alley. And that's it. Thank you for staying throughout the duration of this video. You guys have a wonderful day. And it'll be a part 2 to the history lesson. Love you. Bye. Oh, and thank you, King, and Dee, and whoever else stayed throughout the duration of this video. Love you too. Bye.
Here's a brief word from my sponsor.
The world's falling apart. Every day, another shocking headline makes you wonder what tomorrow will bring. That's why those who knows what's coming are using today to prepare. I'm talking about getting your family some high-quality emergency food from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is a nation's leading preparedness company. They've been in business for going on 14 years now, and they've served millions of American families. Now they want to help you by giving you $50 off their popular 4-week emergency food kit. Oh yes. You get 4 weeks of food per person with meals designed to give you more than 2,000 calories a day. By the way, this food stays fresh up to 25 years in proper storage, so it will be there when you need it. Other food goes bad first, you know what I mean? So don't wait. Go to prepare with my link with the truth and claim your 4-week emergency food kit. You'll save $50 per kit if you act now. So prepare with me at preparewithtruth.com.